Hi, my name is Kirsten Angerbauer, and I am an artist and one of the 12 New Mexico artists to know now for 2023. A little bit about myself: I work as the Fabrication Lab Coordinator at the School of Architecture and Planning, and my background is in sculpture and fine art. I got my undergraduate degree from University of North Texas, and my current work focuses a lot on exploration of materials and processes, specifically sound and sound art and sound installations. So here in this show, I have this piece entitled Pools, and it is an exploration of various frequencies across pools of water. This particular work is in its second iteration, and so every single time I create a new piece, I try to reiterate or rework the piece and into kind of a new experimental form. The pieces behind me are called Wave Sequence, and they are essentially like pools, but in screenshot format. So I would vibrate different materials like paints and oils and waters on a tray and take videos up close, and these etchings behind me are screenshots from those videos captured and laser etched onto glass. The piece behind me is called Foil Piece, and it is essentially a single piece of foil actuated by a low frequency with the speaker. And the whole idea with Foil Piece is to kind of have a very simple material that can just be displayed in a moment with itself, and then the sound comes into the picture and makes it an entirely new experience. I think that is definitely a big part of this work, is kind of using sound as something that you can be seen and not heard, because sound is all around us all the time. It's not something that's generally maybe on everybody's radar with a lot of things, but you'd be surprised how many odd sounds and buzzes and vibrations and like little things are actually in your perception if you close your eyes and listen. And so part of my interest with these sound works is how do we bring that a little bit more to the forefront of people's perception and kind of create situations and infrastructure to display a wave through something, through a material. In this process to make these, there's a ton of trial and error, there's a ton of experimentation and iteration. I guess going backwards in time to just kind of the origination of this body of work, it really consisted of me at a table built with sawhorses and like a door, sitting in my studio for hours on end, just kind of plugging and playing different materials into a frequency. So the frequencies were generated through an app. So I just found an app that I could essentially just generate a singular tone, a singular sine wave or sawtooth wave at a determined frequency. And so all that is a hum, right? A low hum or a high hum. And from that hum, I was able to plug my phone into an amplifier, and then the output, instead of going to a speaker where we could hear it, it would go into one of my contraptions. So it would go into my tray that I had suspended in a frame that I would fill with materials and take screenshots of, or it would go into a speaker that had been modified so that something could be attached to that speaker. So instead of hearing those vibrations, that motion is being captured. Part of it is my interest in what people resonate with. There's this idea of resonant frequency of an object or a material or of a wood. So like different instruments have a resonant frequency, different materials have a resonant frequency. And so I've thought a lot about like what, if there is, or if you can think of a resonant frequency of the self or of the psyche or of your own head, you know, what is your personal resonant frequency? And that I couldn't say, yep, you're gonna feel this when you look at this frequency. That I can have 5 or 10 people see the same experiment or see the same vibrational setup and walk away with 5 to 10 completely different reactions and feelings. I've had people walk up to a work of mine and say, oh, this is just so soothing, I could sleep in here, like I want to hear this all the time. And I've had people walk up to the same piece and say, I can't stand next to that because it makes my skin crawl and it doesn't really vibe with like my senses. And so I think that individuality and that individual moment that can be had with these works is another thing that really draws me in. So I can't say like what people are going to feel when they walk away, but at this moment at least, I want there to be some sort of reaction, and it's really interesting to see how that changes from person to person. Something that I think about a lot is like the accessibility of making, and people look at these pieces and they think, oh, this is really like complex and technical and all of these things, and I just want to come out and say, like, the biggest hurdle with these was just to start. I learned a lot of what I learned on YouTube. I'm not like a technical sound, technology expert or computer expert. Truly, I'm not. And so something that I learned with this body was like, it's okay to spend time with yourself and just make a thing to answer a question. And even if it doesn't turn into into your career's work after that, it's very valuable to just make and create and take those things one step at a time.